What the hell is going on with StreamYard? Did y'all see that, or did it freeze up on y'all as well? I'm getting ready for the show, sending out my link on the social media, and looking up, and the screen is frozen. I'm like, what the hell is going on? StreamYard is not cheap. It's like, for my plan, it's like $80 a month. Let's hit the refresh and we'll get started, shall we? It's good to see everybody, but let's reboot this real quick and we'll get started. Y'all ready? Let me finish sending this out. All right, let's go. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit. Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
And what the hell is going on? What is going on, everybody? Pleasure for y'all to join me today. Thank you very much. Very busy day. We're gonna talk about the June Google Play system update. I put out a notification or a community post earlier today in regards to that notification. Well, I guess you don't get notified. That's why I try to be proactive and remind everybody, let everybody know when there is an update available, because it will not tell you. I actually got I think this is the very first time that I can remember, at least in recent memory, that all my devices got the June Google Play system update. Literally every single one, when I checked, updated all of them. So it's first time for everything, I guess. Usually Samsung's always behind, Motorola seemingly behind. Today every single one was right there. So if you did not update your Google Play services, go to your settings application, and the easiest thing to do is to just type in that search bar, Google Play system update. It shall appear. You got yours as well for the S24 series? Awesome. Man, Samsung is on top of it. And you know what? Motorola's keeping up with their updates as well. So you got to applaud, at least on their flagships. You have to applaud them, though. That's one thing they had to get their act together on. And at least on the flag, look, you got to start somewhere. I really, really want to see Motorola update their mid-range and budget phones on a monthly basis. I know that's maybe stretching it a little much, right? Maybe asking too much from a company. I don't think so, but at least they're starting on their flagships, and hopefully sometime in the near future they'll push updates to all of their devices that are eligible. I eventually want to see, because a lot of times on their mid-range phones, they have a really, really good mid-range phone. It's the Moto Edge 70 Pro Plus, long name. It only has like they're only dedicating 3 years of software support to that phone, of Android versions, and then 4 years of security patches. I wish they would double that, or at least get on the same page as everybody else, but hopefully sometime in the future they will do that. But I think it's imperative. I don't know what the hell those people over there are thinking. Somebody's got their head screwed on right, because they made the decision to update the flagship devices on a monthly basis. So somebody's on the right page over there, but it looks like that is just the case. It is somebody. It doesn't look like everybody on the Motorola team is on the same page. But, it's weird. When you think about it, they have to be doing that for a reason, no? I mean, look, they sell I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would bet that a large majority of their budget and mid-range phones probably sold in India. They're really big in India. And I don't want to cast aspersions or speak for them, but in my opinion, I think I'm saying I think Motorola thinks that updates aren't as important to people in India as other parts of the world. I don't know. I wish I didn't have to think that, but they're not giving us much to go off of. I don't know. Here, it's imperative. I will not use a device if it's not updated on a monthly basis. Not happening. And neither should you. We spend way too much money on these devices. We spend way too much time on these devices to be behind a month, 2 months, 3 months on any one of the security patch, whether it's a monthly security patch or it's an Android software version. These companies make way too much money to not update their devices. And I don't see the point in using a device if they're not going to be, if security, protecting their users is not at the very top of the list. Sorry. But that's why I don't have a mid-range Motorola phone. I really, really, really want to buy the device I was talking about, that Moto Edge 70 Pro Plus. I really want to get it. That's the only thing holding me back. I don't know. Are they going to update monthly? Okay, so it only gets 3 years of Android software version updates. But what about the monthly security patches? I just don't know. So that's the only thing that's been holding me back. Pretty good phone. You can grab one right now on eBay. In fact, I have some in my cart. Hang on, let me see here. eBay. Let's see. You can get one right now for $495. And it's a pretty good spec phone. I mean, they've got, just like the Signature, it doesn't have the exact same sensors in there, but it has 4 50 megapixel sensors, just like the Signature. It's got 3 on the back, 1 on the front. Well, this Moto Edge 70 Pro Plus has 4 50 megapixel sensors, and they're Sony sensors. It's just not the very top of the shelf sensors that's in the Signature, but it's like right under there. So it takes fantastic photos from what I've seen. Let's see, it's got 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. It's got the MediaTek Dimensity 8500 Extreme, pretty good CPU. It looks to be fantastic. Has that bone finish at the back, sort of like a Signature, or like a fabric or a felt type of feeling. So pretty good. Here's one. Oh, that's the Edge 70 Fusion. Okay. Pretty good deal. $500. That's a good phone. Like, I would love to recommend that phone. If you only had $500 to spend, that would be the first phone I would point to if I knew they would update their phones. I hate to talk about this all the time, but it really, really bothers me. And as I mentioned earlier, when a company is so close like Motorola from being... Look, let's be honest. If they invested a little more resources into their mobile phone game, they could be at the top of the list. And I don't think that's a stretch by any means. Honestly, if you see their lineup right now, and I'm not talking about just in America, because their America lineup sucks. They have the Razr Fold, which is badass, but I'm not a foldable person. But that's the best foldable in the world. If they brought the Signature to the US officially, that's automatically one of the best phones you can buy at the best price, may I add as well. But if they brought like the Edge 70 Pro Plus to America, they would be killing it. Absolutely killing it. And they updated it monthly. They would be killing it. And then on the budget, they have the... What do they have? They got the one with the stylus. I don't even know what it's called because I don't care. In the Edge, they screwed that up. You know what I'm saying? The Edge 2026, how it's essentially a downgrade from the 2025. There's a few things I would change in the company. Look, again, Motorola, I'll put my services out there for y'all. Bring me on board. I promise I'll have you on top of the phone world. Outside of Apple, but you get the point. I guarantee you I would have y'all on top of the phone game, at least in the Android world. Just a few decisions you got to tweak, but who knows? I'm not in those meetings, so I don't know what's going on with Motorola, but they're not far. Like, honestly, they're not far. Bring the signature, or I guess on the second version, they got to bring a second, and I think they are. I heard something the other day that there is going to be a signature too. I think they're going to do it like Apple, where it's just going to be called. Well, I take that back, because Apple doesn't even do that anymore. But it's going to be called the signature. Again, it's just going to have like the 20. When was the signature released? 2026. It'll just have the 2027 in parentheses. So I heard they're bringing that again. They just need to bring that to the US. They need to bring the Moto Edge 70 Plus Pro to the US. And update monthly, man. They're right there. They are right there. This week it's all about iOS and Motorola. Nothing from Samsung and OnePlus. I know. I've heard a little bit about the OnePlus 16. People still don't believe me for whatever reason that the OnePlus 16 is going to be China only. If you go look at my short that I uploaded like last week talking about the upcoming OnePlus 16, how it's going to have that 200 megapixel telephoto lens, I mentioned in that short that it was going to be China only. There's like 4 or 5 people that don't. Where's your proof? Where's your proof at? Blah 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 blah. I'm like, dude, it's there. Like, it's not hard to figure out. But you're right. Nothing from OnePlus. Samsung. I do have Samsung news today that we're going to get to. If you're interested in the Flip 8, we're going to get to that. And then nothing keeps rolling along. You're right, but no news, no real information there. I would like to know how they're selling. Like, as far as nothing, especially with the 4A Pro in Best Buy. And the Nothing Phone 3. Like, I wish I could see those numbers to see how well they're selling. I think it's a good phone if that's what you're looking for. If you're okay with no Wi-Fi 7, it's a good phone. The 4A Pro I'm talking about. And I think the Phone 3, minus its ugly looks, can be a good phone depending on how much you get it for. Like I would consider buying one if I could find one for maybe, I don't know, $400 or $500. I mean, it's not like I've been looking for one, but if I come across one, I'll certainly consider it. But yeah, nothing. And iOS, I do have some hypocrisy from Apple that we're going to try and get into. Yeah, you should. I guess they don't watch the channel because sometimes I think I talk too much about kind of like behind the scenes stuff and what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. They certainly don't watch and or subscribe to the channel because it's pretty clear what they're doing. But whatever. They're probably just general fans and not enthusiasts like we are. Am I excited about the Oppo Find X10 and Find X10 Pro and Oppo Find X10 Pro Max? Very. In fact, you know how I kind of wanted to get the X9 Ultra when it came out? Well, I think I'm going to take a pause. And I was also strongly considering getting the Oppo Find X9 Pro, the OnePlus 15 clone. But I think what I'm going to do, since I was kind of on the fence, I'm going to take a timeout on buying any Oppo phones. I'm going to actually wait until the Oppo Find X10 Pro Max comes out. And I think that one is the one I'm finally going to pull the trigger on. Never had an Oppo phone, but I think that would be I think that would be a great phone to get my feet wet with, to go ahead and jump all in on Oppo, because remember, it's going to have 3 200 megapixel sensors on the back and 100 megapixel selfie sensor, so 700 megapixels. I know megapixels aren't everything, but they're badass sensors. Like, that'll be by far the very best camera phone you will find when it's launched. So yeah, I'm really, and as we get closer to those launch dates, I'll keep everybody up to date with the specs, when it's going to be launched, how much it's going to be, where it's going to be launched. I do not expect Oppo to release these in the US. I just don't. I think US fans, I think we can put that anticipation to bed. Oppo's not launching phones in the US, right? They're actually doing the opposite. They're pulling back, right? They pulled out OnePlus. So I just don't see it, but you know, you can still grab one from eBay, which is probably what I'll do. Excited? Yes, very, very excited. Huge sales boost. Possible due to the Charlie XCX brand ambassador onboarding Gen Z audience. Yeah, that's a model, right? I think she's a model. I've never heard of her before. I just saw, what was it? Some model and Carl Pei had some social media boost. They're great phones for Gen. What'd you say? Gen Z. I don't even know what age range that is, but for the younger crowd, right? I think it's a fantastic option for anybody wanting to leave iPhone or wanting to, you know, maybe try Android. It's a perfect phone. It's not expensive. It's fun to use. I think that was a good move. Again, I've never heard of that model, but you know, certainly doesn't hurt to have a good-looking person endorse your products. So, yeah, I think it's fantastic. And you know, that was one of the things that I was kind of not necessarily worried about, but interested to see where it goes is their marketing plan. I know they want to spread their branches a little bit into different markets, and it's always interesting to see, you know, because I own my own business as well. It's always interesting to see kind of where they go with marketing. How do you want to get your name out there? How do you want to get your brand in front of a potential buyer or a new group of people? In You know, do you run commercials? Do you hire brand ambassador? Do you remember when OnePlus hired, who plays Iron Man? It's not Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr. Do you remember about, I think it was when the OnePlus 10 or what was it? No, maybe it was OnePlus 9. Remember they hired him for a year to be their brand ambassador in America, and there were pictures of him using a OnePlus 9 or whatever it was. It's interesting to see how they go about doing that. Maybe I'm the only one that's interested in that, but I've always wondered how is nothing going to crack the US market? But maybe that's just me. You heading out of here? Peace out, brother. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's jump into the news here. Let's see. Even if a phone like Oppo and Vivo was sold globally, like in Europe, would you still not go for it, or would you not mind, even though there are a few restrictions on US phone service? No, I would go for it. I would go for it. I would still use it. I mean, I don't have a long history of buying phones that are sold globally but not in the US. I just have a little experience. I do have a couple of subscribers that's all they buy. So maybe they're the best people to ask, but as long as it works on my network and as long as the modem is eligible for carrier aggregation and or the new T-Mobile 5G network, I'm okay with using it. I understand there are certain risks that do come with buying devices not officially sold in your country, like warranty, or what if you get a screen crack, right? If you crack your screen, it's not like you can go to these cell phone repair stores and just get it fixed, you know, in an afternoon like you could with an iPhone or a Samsung. But you know, there's certain risks that come with it, but also you can also mitigate those risks by buying insurance. Sure, you might have to send it in to get it fixed, or they give you money if you file a claim to buy a new phone. There's always that involved, but it doesn't bother me too much, quite honestly. It doesn't, but you always have to think of that stuff. Let's do this. Let me pull up let's see here. Let me pull up. We got, man, what's going on with is it my computer that's messing up? Why is everything running slow? This has never happened to me. Let's see. Let's pull this up. Okay, so, and I got a story on Apple, some hypocrisy that I would like to shine some light on. Let me move this over here. I had to restart my computer right before I started the stream. Let me move that here. Let me pull up June Android. Nope. June Google Play system update. And then what else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, the Z Flip 8. So I'm not going to make this a long topic. I don't need any graphics or anything, but you know how in the last week or so I've uploaded a few videos in regards to CPUs, Samsung Exynos, Qualcomm Snapdragon, how Snapdragon or Qualcomm is essentially strong arming Samsung into using these Snapdragon CPUs over the Exynos CPUs, and they're simply doing that by dropping the price below what it costs Samsung to use their own Exynos CPUs. Well, we do now know what markets the Z Flip 8 is going to have Snapdragon, and the markets that the Z Flip 8 is going to have Exynos. So if you're considering getting a Z Flip 8, you might want to be mindful of where you get it from. And I know that's easier said than done, but they are going to do a split CPU on the Z Flip 8. Most are going to come with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. And then in a couple regions, you're going to get the Samsung Exynos 2600. Now, the downside to the 2600 compared to the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 is that the Exynos 2600 is not as strong, meaning it doesn't perform as good as the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. And it does not get T-Mobile or AT&T's brand new 5G network, the modem that's in the Samsung Exynos 2600. So though that's it and it's different for everybody. That's a huge downside for me. That's a non-starter for me, but everybody's different. I do have the regions where they're going to launch Qualcomm and the regions they're going to launch Exynos. So in the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 8, the two countries and or regions and or markets that are going to be launched with the Samsung Exynos 2600 is in Europe and in South Korea. So if you're in Europe, any one of the countries that's in the EU or Europe, either way, including England, you're going to get an Exynos 2600. Sucks for y'all. But if you're anywhere else in the world, you're going to get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Good news for people in the US. Good news for anybody outside of South Korea and Europe. So if you do live in Europe, damn, that's a bummer. You can find one for sale on eBay. I don't know, get any other model variant outside of EU or South Korea if you were anticipating getting a Z Flip 8. I've purchased a Samsung Z Flip whatever since the very first one, the OG. I think this is going to be the first year. I'm making a lot of changes around here. This year is going to be the very first year I have not bought a Pixel on launch day. dating back all the way to the beginning. I'm talking very beginning, before the Nexus days. This would be, I'm just not going to do it. And I don't believe I'm going to buy a Z Flip this year either. I've had every single one. And it's weird because out of all the phones I own, that's the one that I sell the quickest. I get it just because it's fun to use. It brings back nostalgia from when I was 18 and had a Motorola StarTAC. And I had all the Samsung flip phones as well. But this year, I'll get a flip and then I'll hold on to it for a few months. I'm like, I just use it because it's fun. I don't use it because I need it. So I just sell it. But it's going to be a refresh. It's going to be exactly like last year's whoop-de-freaking-do. Been there, done that. I'm not going to waste the time and the money on this one. And then with Pixel, 200 charging cycle thing, I don't see the point in buying a brand new Pixel when I know I'm only going to use it for 6 months. And after 200 charging cycles, it's going to go right in the closet like my Pixel 10 Pro. What's the point? So I just don't see it. Now, moving on, let's jump into what's new in the Android June 2026 Google Play System update. Yes, I mentioned that this is going to be interesting. The Graphene OS partnering with Motorola. I've talked about that before, but haven't said anything since, simply because we don't have any new information. We do know the Graphene OS developer team is partnering with Motorola to put out a custom device, and we just don't know anything else. Now, I don't know when it's going to be launched. They did say it is going to be this year, but we don't know the specs. Is it going to be mid-range? Is it going to be flagship? I just don't know. I have no clue. But as the year carries on, I'm sure some more information will come out, but I'm definitely going to be covering this. So as we get more info, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it, and potentially we'll even get one as well. I don't know where they're going to sell them. Is it going to be on Amazon? Is it going to be on their own website? I have no clue. There's really not much else known about it, honestly, but I'll see if we can get one and test it out. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about it as time goes on. Bought the Moto Razr Ultra 2025 512 16 gig variant for $745 brand new at Best Buy's. It's my new. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I've never had a Razr. They used to be shitty. Like, they used to have bad specs. Now, I think with the Razrs, they're pretty decent phones. But I've never owned one before. I would like to. I just never have. Certainly nice. Nice. I do like the colors Motorola is putting out. I do like those colors. Yeah, and they actually have some really good specs now. So, as I've mentioned, Motorola is making some strides. And that's why I get sometimes so frustrated with them. Because they're making progress in certain areas, but in other areas that are of importance, they don't. And I'm like, what are we doing over here? Like, you're teasing us, right? But not quite enough to just grab a hold and, you know what I'm saying? You know, some phones are like, hello, I'm a supporter of theirs. I just want them to go all the way with everything, because I think they could be on top of this smartphone game here in America, at least on the Android side. I know it's a tall task to ask one of these Android manufacturers to pull in the stats that Apple does. It's pretty, I'm not going to say unachievable forever, but at least in the next few years. Nobody's touching Apple just by how many devices they sell, revenue that comes in. It's just, they're on an ungodly level here in the US. Why? I have no clue, because iOS sucks. But it shows you how many people are brainwashed. But yeah, Motorola could be on top of the phone game. And I can't even believe I'm saying that right now. If I said that 6 months ago, I'd probably be laughed at. In fact, I'd probably laugh at myself for saying that. But I think it's a real thing. They're really close. They just need to get on that horse. How's that signature? Man, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot say enough. It's a gem. It is a gem in the mobile phone world. Not many people know about. It is a gem. I don't have any. I don't have, if you're talking to me, I don't have any. So you would come up short on my end if you try to take my diamonds. But let's jump into this real quick. So let me share my screen here, and we'll get into see if I get enough time for this Apple stuff. Hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get out of here soon. Let me share my screen real quick, and I gotta jump. Let's see, and we'll do. I think we're gonna do a giveaway tomorrow. But let's look at this real quick. So what's new in the what's new in the Google Play system update? And again, they don't notify you this. So if you're using an Android device right now, go to your settings app, go to the search icon, simply type in Google Play system update. It'll pop up, update it, and away you go. But this is very important to the functionality of your device. Very important. I don't know why they don't notify you. I can guarantee you 90% of Android users don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Adaptive, so just take a look at all the stuff that they updated. Adaptive connectivity services was updated. Android system intelligence was updated. Android system key verifier. Android system safety core. Web view was updated. Android TV core services updated. Device health services. Google partner setup. Google Play Protect service, Google Play services, Google Play services for AR, Google Play Store was updated, Google Play System update. Yes, we know that. Private compute services, Quick Share extension was improved and updated. Setting services, SIM manager, system parental controls. As you can see, huge update this month. I'm not going to go into detail of each and every one of them, but you can see right there, it's a big deal. Now, let's jump into this Apple thing real quick before I get out of here. And let me share my screen of these notes real quick. Let me show you this. So Apple got look, we're all hypocritical from time to time, even myself, right? And Apple is no different. So look at this. A tale of two regions. Apple has different privacy stances depending on where you catch them on the globe. So Apple has announced that its new Siri AI will not be launched in the EU and or China on iOS and iPadOS due to regulatory differences while being available on Macs and Apple Vision Pro. But that's not the hypocritical thing. The European Commission disputes Apple's claims that the Digital Markets Act, the DMA Act, prevents the launch, stating that Apple alone made that decision and that the EU does not restrict which AI tools their citizens can use. So Apple's not bringing their new Siri AI backed by Google Gemini to the EU. And the EU is saying, whoa, we didn't tell them that our citizens can't use Siri, the new Siri. That's an Apple decision, so don't get mad at us. Now, Apple does cite privacy concerns and its inability to enable interoperability of AI agents as the reason for not complying with EU demands, asserting its architecture prevents even Google from accessing AI inference data. Now, in contrast to the EU, get this, Apple stores iCloud data on government-owned servers in China. I'm going to repeat that. In China, where Apple operates in China, they store iCloud data on Chinese government servers in China with locally stored keys that grant the Chinese government access to their users' iCloud data in China. Now, this hypocrisy highlights a perceived hypocrisy in Apple's user privacy claims as it appears to, appease the Chinese government while resisting the EU regulations over AI. Tale of two stories, right? Now, am I blowing up Apple's spot for highlighting this? Not necessarily. They have to do what's in their best interest to operate or just to get in the door. Maybe China said, hey, we're not going to let you sell your products here if you don't give us our users the access to our users' information. Maybe Apple was okay with that. You got to weigh your pros and cons. Maybe they thought there's too much money to lose out on, and okay, that's fine. We'll give you the keys to your users' iCloud data in China, right? While in the EU, they're not launching certain services in the EU, partly because of the EU restrictions and laws. But on today, the EU is saying, whoa. We didn't say, there's nothing in our DMA, our Digital Markets Act, that says you can't provide AI to your users here. That's your decision. So, I don't know. Take it for what you will. I'll let you be the judge of that. But I just thought it was interesting to kind of see how they operate in different parts of the world with different governments, because quite frankly, you got to play by their rules or you can't sell your products in those regions. And we all know how much Apple, Google, all these top tier companies make. It's just an insane amount of money. But it is what it is. If you're a user in the EU, you got screwed today. No new Siri AI backed by Gemini, and you get the Samsung Exynos 2600 in your Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 8. Anyways, appreciate the time. Join me tomorrow. We'll do a giveaway. I gotta run. Please be safe, and as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Yeah.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.